Hi, I wanted to comment on the destabilizing effects of transient life. And it occurs to me to comment on it because I'm actually not experiencing it right now. And it's really kind of amazing. Transient life is it has its ups and downs like anything else, and the highs are high, and they're cool. One of the downsides is that it's very, very unstable, kind of by, definition, of course. But I mean more than that. It's beyond choice. You're not really. You start to lose faith in stability. You just start to not even know what it is. You forget. I've brushed my teeth in the city park on Christmas morning. Spent holidays alone in the park, in a car or in a van. Well, and that's it's just kind of what it is. But what the unstable side is, it's very, you generally have to kind of leave on a dime, no warning, and it's not always dramatic. It can be. It often is. It's not always. But it's, I was parked at a rest stop in southwestern Colorado off of Highway 160, and I was awakened at midnight by a cop who told me I couldn't spend the night there. And I was aggravated, but I was talking to a cop, so I wasn't stupid, but I was like, aren't you all about like not driving when you're tired? I mean, where am I supposed to sleep? And he actually pointed, he was cool, but he pointed at a sign. I was actually parked in front of it, I think, or with like a little no tent, like a tent with a crossed out tent. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to pitch a tent, And he's like, well, he understood. He saw what was going on. He knew that I was normal or whatever, no big deal. And he's like, I'll let you go. Just don't come back. Like, don't spend the night here again. Don't camp up here for a week. And I asked him what their reasoning was, and he was like, well, I think that the city or the county people, Montezuma County, I think it was, would be like, they didn't want any hijinks going on at the rest stop. And it's just kind of like, that's the kind of thing that somebody who spends their life inside would think about. And the people that they are affecting, it's like, it happens to me all the time. Not here, I'm a total foreigner here, of course, but you'll roll into town, wherever it is, for whatever reason, randomly. Maybe you were invited by a friend, that happens. Mostly it's just kind of like the next place to stop on a highway for whatever reason. And some places stick and some places don't. And I find that my general time frame is about 5 weeks. And in about 5 weeks, no matter what, something has to kind of keep me there. And that happened in Jerome. I was there for about 5 weeks, 6 weeks maybe, and I was just like, okay, well, we're done. And I went up to Flagstaff to try Flagstaff out. And while I was in Flagstaff, I got a call from this guy I met in Jerome, this drummer, who is still a friend of mine, actually, though I haven't spoken to him in a while, but that happens. And he's like, yeah, I saw you had an ad up for a drummer, man. I'll be your drummer. Because I knew the guy. I knew him already. He had my number. He didn't respond to the ad. He just called me and said, I'll be your drummer if you want. And he was, by far one of the best drummers I've ever played with, hands down. Tied for first with my friend in San Diego, who was a little more reliable. And they're both great drummers, though. And so I went back to Jerome, and then a few years passed, and then it was kind of just time to leave, but it lasted longer than 5 weeks. And you'll get, and sometimes the locals, and I don't mean people that have been there for 4 generations, though that is also true, and that's not always bad. A lot of those people are really cool. I'm not interested in reforming the town to me, but Jerome was an interesting case. And occasionally, though, when people are in a bad mood, maybe they're drunk or, they're in a bitchy mood for whatever reason, and they'll say, well, you're not really from here. I got here in 1902, and I've been here, and I'm always. I wrote that song 10 years ago. I wrote the song 15 years ago. I recorded it 10 years ago. It says wherever I go, I'll always be from out of town. I mean, I was on a road trip when I got here. I live on some wheels. It's just a matter of time before I leave. Y'all are going to have to keep me here, and not to imply that I'm doing you any favors by being here, but I mean, for me to stay, it's going to take more than a free parking spot at the Catholic Church. I mean, and Jerome, my experience in Jerome was about, I think, as good as it gets for van life. I don't think it gets any better than that. Because I was able to park in town, because you can't really park and camp, as they call it, in the city, which I understand and actually kind of agree with. Because also there's a lot of parking in a lot of the western states. You can camp, you can go out into the woods on a dirt road. You don't have to go that far, a few miles, and you can stay there for free, and it's common and understood. And come into town for fun every a couple times a week or whatever, but you don't have to they don't want people living in there. I get it. I agree with it. But I became friends with a lot of the people there, who are still friends of mine to this day, as far as I'm aware, and including the caretaker of the Catholic Church, who replaced the guy who was there when I got there. But then this other guy came in, and we became friends, and he just let me camp in the parking lot. And I guess I just used the word camp, so I guess that's what it is. But it's So I was able to stay in town, but I wasn't on public property, and then the people were friendly, and I was accepted, and we were all kind of mutually down with each other. That's not always the case, anyway. And I left because it's like after a while, you're like I'm not getting anything done here. The certain bars maybe are think they're too good for you. That happens. It really does. It's a lot of frustrated rock stars owning bars. Poor them. I know, it's rough. You get to manage a bar and live in a nice house in Cornville or Sedona or something, and have your hot girlfriend, and you just don't get to be able. You just can't sing. Cry me a river. I mean, I live in a car or a van. I'd rather sing than live in a house like you, but I don't have any problem with you. But they get argumentative. I'm kind of responding to that in a negative way. I don't know why. I guess it's because it's annoying, but I don't really care. I don't see myself as better than anybody. I'm not doing anybody any favors when I walk in the door. I see what I do as essentially being a car mechanic, or it's a trade. It's a tradesman. It's a blue collar job. You can make them, well, maybe not anymore, though you can, I suppose. I don't want to limit things, but you can become very wealthy, and but it's I see it as a trade, no different and no less or no more or less important than a plumber, electrician, car mechanic, etc. So I'm feeling very wistful, as opposed to packing in 5 minutes or a few hours or whatever it is, less than a day, if I'm not already packed, and leaving town without any warning, or leaving and being able. And I'm actually consciously leaving by choice, and we're leaving this place tomorrow, even though I kind of feel sad about it, and it's amazing. I just can't believe how it feels to not have to just kind of disappear in the middle of the night. Not necessarily dramatically. I left Jerome just because I just got tired of parking there, and it's like, well, nobody's standing at the gates to say goodbye. I'm not leaving the building, and there's nobody up with a key to give a key to. I just hit the gas, put it in drive, and leave, so you don't necessarily say goodbye to people because you don't necessarily know you're leaving. And this time I've had time to pack, and I've got a place that I'm looking at going that's kind of waiting for me. God knows, it remains to be seen what God's will is in that, if that's going to be something that lasts for longer than an hour. It's hard to believe in it. I just don't. I've dealt with people. I mean, I drove. I was every day when me and the cats were parked in Silverton, near Silverton. There's a camping ground up there for free, 10,000 feet, very cold. The water froze almost solid in May. Not the giant jugs, but the cat dishes, which were not thick. You know, it's not gallons of water. Those would freeze almost solid every night in May. And I would go down to the Welcome Center in Silverton to use the Wi-Fi every day to look for different things, including jobs. And that's how I found the Cortez farm job. And I found a place near Walden, Colorado, which is about 450 miles, you know, not as the crow flies, but, you know, through highways and freeways and different roads from Silverton to roughly the Walden area of Colorado. I talked to them. They said, yeah, come on down. We're looking for somebody to, you know, to live in the house there and help us with our earth ship or something, right? And then, you know, so you drive all 450 miles, takes all day. It's not all freeway. It's a long day and beautiful stuff. And then you get there and you eat with the people and, you know, oh, you like the same coffee as me and this is where you're going to be. Oh, but the cats can't stay in the building all of a sudden. These are hippie people from Colorado, older hippie types, 60-year-old-ish people, hippies, which, you know, in Colorado, it's kind of a self-righteous place. I'm technically a Colorado resident. I love Colorado. It's one of the most beautiful places. I pray to God. I prayed to God a couple times, you know, like, please let heaven have something in common with Colorado, please, you know. And it does. It's beyond Colorado, believe it or not. But a beautiful place, but really self-righteous, very sanctimonious culturally, just a lot of self-righteous people who still think that being a liberal is somehow like it's like it's still 1975 or still 2004 or something. I mean, it's honestly, except for the weed thing, it's really far behind. I think it's really an obsolete kind of a mentality and really unsufferable. Very self-righteous. You know, you get it from hotel clerks. I was at a hotel off I-76, or I tried to, or maybe I did. I think I did. And the woman was just like, you know, she just looked at me and just had an attitude. It's ridiculous, you know, because she is, you know, she's full of demons and has no idea why she hates everything that she's told to hate. She thinks it's her and she thinks it's powerful. It's really boring. Anyway, I get up to this place near Walden, blah, blah, blah. The cats can't stay in it's like, I guess it was a bedroom, but they can't stay in the bedroom with me. Well, thanks for letting me drive 450 miles to figure that out. You know, thank you. And of course, it was the wife's decision. Always a red flag, every single time. If the husband has to defer to the wife, run for your life. All right, just do it. Don't question it. You'll thank me later. All right, just get out. And and my cats were getting in fights with their cats out in the parking lot by the van. And anyway, I was making note while we were driving into the place, and it's not like, you know, Google Map area. It's like, you know, dirt road for 2 miles, take a right, dirt road for 1.5 miles, take a left. I mean, I was actually making, because I just don't trust this stuff. And it was like all of a sudden, and I'm making note of how to get out, and I had to get out. I decided at 2 o'clock in the morning, I hadn't slept at all, 450 miles, hanging out with them all night, ate some food, laying in the van, since they wouldn't let me bring the cats inside, you know, and I was expected to work there, and I'm like, well, what do you mean to keep, where do you want, it's like they just didn't want me there, but they were too, I'm making a short story long, because it's not that long of a story. I decided to leave at 2 o'clock in the morning and drove all the way back to Silverton, 900 miles round trip and hanging out with the fur several hours in the middle of that without any sleep. Found a cheap but chain hotel in Cortez. Actually, I just went to Cortez because Silverton is kind of special. I just went to a larger town that had some cheap regular hotels, motel type places, parked in front of the door, got a room for like 3 nights and slept for 2 days. And from there, that's when I just pushed to get that farm caretaker job, and that guy took me. And then it's another story, then I get there, well, this guy isn't paying, but he's letting you stay on the house, on the little house on the property. And it was great. And it was easy, but it said in the ad, extra work to be done at the employee's discretion, which would mean other than making sure that things aren't on fire, making sure that the animals aren't dying, that they're not running away, fixing the fence when the bulls break in from the next door, chase the bulls out, fix the fence, make sure the cows are okay, feed the chickens, feed all the animals, make sure they all got water. He taught me how to mix their feed, etc. But he wasn't paying, and I was his 10th caretaker in a year, and because he was getting cheap people, and he came up to me, and out of the blue he acted like, well, we found somebody else, and can you leave today? He wanted me to leave like the next day at the latest, and I actually said, you know what? You can't kick me out. That's actually against the law. You've got to give me 30 days written notice. And I've got 2 cats I had 3 cats, or 4, whatever it was, more than I have now. And if you kick us out into it was June, and it was starting to even down, even in Colorado. Cortez isn't real mountainous. It's all mountainous, but it's, warmer and drier and flatter, relatively speaking. It's not Telluride, even though Telluride's only 100 miles away, if that. But if you kick us out of here, I'm gonna take legal action against you. I mean, you can't do that. That's against the law. And I really needed the time. I wasn't just playing games with the guy. I got bored in a week anyway. I was there for less than a month. I was bored in 2 weeks, maybe 1. And he got real weird on me. And he was full of demons. I could just sense he was full of demonic energy. He wanted to win. So I go to leave, and I find that the gates, he had locked the gates. I couldn't get out, right? He wanted me to leave, but when I wouldn't leave within 30 minutes, because it's illegal to do that, you got to give some, it's just really horrible. People are horrific. I don't know how you believe in good people. If you believe in good people, I don't know how you do it. I really don't. You have to go on faith. If you think you're too smart for organized religion, but you believe in good people, well, you have an unorganized religion. But it's a religion, because you have to believe it on faith. So, FYI. But I've been through this a million times, so I had Montezuma County Sheriff's Office in my phone. If you try, I don't know how you can trust people. I just don't know how you can do it. I can't do it. And I called Montezuma County. They were there, and really soon the sheriff actually we didn't even have to cut the fence. He undid the gate. I got out. And I was furious, and I wasn't like screaming at him, but I was angry, of course. And I'm like, what do I do? This is like kidnapping or it's some kind of a crime. I'm like, how can I pursue prosecuting this guy for locking me on his property? And obviously God was talking through this sheriff, who might have been an angel, probably not, maybe, but he was definitely being spoken through by God. And he basically said to me, just leave it alone. I got him. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your energy. Leave him in my hands and just be free of the guy. And it was obviously God was talking through him, so that's what we did. And this time, I actually have kind of learned, I have mutual respect for the landlord here. He's never called me to hang out for so much as a plate of nachos. Neither have I called him. I probably could. But there's been so many problems here and he's really stepped up to fix them. And he's been surprised, and I believe him. The water went out the same day that the gas had gone out. or the internet or something. The internet's gone out a few times, the gas has gone out twice, electricity once, and water once. And the water one was a real surprise. The electricity was a big surprise too. And he's like, I just talked to the electric company. I went down there and talked to them. He comes here, checks the meter, the electric meter, takes pictures of it with his phone, goes to the office, wherever it is, talks to them, sends me a text. He's like, it's gonna be up in 12 to 24 hours. And I'm actually kind of used to not having electricity, living in a van. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna yell at the guy? Am I gonna throw something through the wall? Am I gonna piss my pants? I mean, nothing I can do about it. I'm like, all right, that's what you gotta do. And then he texted me back in like 10 seconds. He's like, you know what? I know a guy. We'll be there in 3 hours. You're gonna have your electricity up before 5. And I'm like, thank you, man. And he got back to me and he's like, no, thank you, dude. You've been really patient, which actually isn't true. You've been really patient through all, because there's been a lot of services problems here. And it kind of makes me not want to leave. The services are actually not why we're leaving. The services are not anything to do with it. They're not. They kind of make a case for leaving also, but the main reason we're leaving is the cats need to go outside. This is a great apartment, but they can never go outside. They never get any fresh air. It's a great place, but I had an ivory tower dungeon feeling dragging them up here when we moved in. I just was like, this is just, and it's a great spot, but I've been a little over it for a little while, and I'm not leaving like in a rush. I get to kind of enjoy it. I'm packing slowly and over the course of a few days, as opposed to an hour or maybe the night. Be gone by the sun up or something. You don't have to. There's no trouble. You just get out now. I'm actually like able to. The scorpion den was so horrific that I didn't actually want to sleep at the end. And I couldn't keep anything in the van. I couldn't pack slowly because the van was getting broken into. It got broken into once. But it was broken into and things were stolen from it. So it was on a street. I'm not going to leave anything in the van at all. So the van was empty and I had to pack the whole van in one morning, and it's a steep staircase. This is heavier, but I get to do it over 3 days. And there was no drama there with any people, but the scorpions are, deadly animals. And by the end, I didn't even sleep, and it was just, I couldn't wait to get out of there. This is relaxing, and this is like a pleasure, a privilege, and I'm so grateful to be able to not hate a place or be able to savor the things about it that I liked, while I'm leaving and not have to leave, and I'm leaving tomorrow. The van isn't. It's got angels around it, but the van has been tampered with. Somebody's been messing with it. By the grace of God, it hasn't happened for a few days, and it's never going to happen again. That happened 2 times, and somebody unlocked the door, but they didn't open it. They didn't steal anything. They're just messing with my head. That's all right. That's bad. And then even more important than that is actually the fact that the cats need to go outside. We can't live here. I'm not gonna renew the lease anyway. Lease expires in 2 months anyway. I need to get my van has got some tag situation I need to take care of, and my visa is good, but I need to get out of here. I'm not going to renew. I need to move now. I'm going to break the lease anyway, so now's the time. And I actually kind of feel bad, like not guilty, but sad. It's like amazing. I instead of being angry or not having time to think and being so tired from climbing 5 flights of stairs for 6 hours, and then when we left the one place, not the Gringo Pad, I had another place booked for the next day, but I had to wait for her to wake up, and we left the Gringo Pad at dawn, right? Well, have you checked into a Airbnb at dawn? Are people awake at 6:30, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning? Maybe 8, maybe, right? You're not getting in there until. And this woman was so cool. I texted her, like, I waited until 8 o'clock, which is early. And I'm like, I know this is really early. I think I might have told her anyway when I booked the place, but called her, texted her, so you can ignore it if you're asleep. And I'm like, Yeah, we're ready to move in whenever you. I realize it's very early. I don't expect it to be ready. I'm grateful for whatever. I just FYI, I'm available whenever you're ready. And she actually got back to me right away, and she's like, "Yeah, we're not ready because she was cool. She's like, "Yeah, it's not ready, but if you want to come and park here in front of the place while we clean it out for you, she was going to do that anyway. Well, I wasn't. I didn't wake her up, and but yeah, great. So I drove to the place and parked in front of it and just passed out in the driver's seat without even being aware that I had fallen asleep. I just woke. I just was so tired, and then she said it's ready now, and then we were able to move in there and we were safe for a few more days. This is like, and this video is getting long, so I'm going to cut it now. But I'm really grateful for this. This is very wistful, and I feel sad, in a clean, in a good way, like not tragic and not sad exactly. Just, God bless this place. God bless the neighbors with the yippy dog, and God bless the people downstairs and the landlord and his kid and anybody who's helped me here. I don't have any friends in this town. I've not met anybody. That's also another reason to leave, is that, I don't necessarily need to go walking in through the city center in any way, but if we're going to be in, let's at least be able to go outside, and walk around some trees. And I don't need to live in the city anymore anyway. I haven't had to live in the city for many years. So anyway, well, I don't know if I made my point or not, but thanks for watching the video. God bless you. And I'm so grateful. The Lord has just been, we really have been through a lot, and we're all in one piece, and I'm just so grateful. I can't even express it. I just can't. I can't. Gratitude is really key. It's really valuable. It's an important thing. It's a liberating feeling, and try to be grateful for what you got. For what it's worth. You can reject that if you want. Of course, but. Anyway, all right. Adios.